Ah, y'all can hear me, right? Okay, now y'all both just mute.
Oh yeah, I landed on it. I was just letting him know. See, here, I'm gonna flip my camera real quick so you can see.
You want me to make it big screen?
No, I just wanted to show. I'm in Brazil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I speak the languages here. I speak Spanish. I learned sign languages because I had friends with sign language. And when we talk about this music thing as a musician, its influence, especially in movies or our hip hop, it has an influence on behavior here. Now, the fortunate thing about here in Brazil is that when it comes to our hip hop, right, they listen to our old school stuff and it has more of an influence than the new school mumble rap. They don't know who a Sexy Red is, right? They like old school funk and stuff like that, right? And so when we talk about what they listen to, um, uh, hold on. And the era of hip hop that they really listen to is going to be 90s, early 2000s, and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying?
I don't know. I feel like bro was just being a contrarian just to disagree because for some reason when a lot of people let me make yourself big screen. When you criticize stuff in the black community, you have people that always want to say, well, what about this? What about that? And I'm like, okay, what about that? The majority of the stuff isn't like black community where he's talking about illicit substances, SDX, and getting your money up regardless.
Let me say this. Okay, I'm gonna speak to the brother that's working at the front desk on the hip hop thing, right? Because a lot of these brothers are brothers that live near the favela, right? And so
Isn't that like one of the worst
um,
parts of Brazil?
that's where I go. I go in there. Com licença. Ah, e, você ouvia música e hip hop? Quem anos, like noventa, 20, 2020, quem anos hip hop você ouvia?
Mas escuta, anos 2000,
2000,
2000.
2000, 2000s. They listened to hip hop in the 2000s.
I don't blame him because like the current hip hop right now, bro, people make Sexy Red famous. I'm like, have you ever listened to anything he says? That is just trash. Wait,
Right. And so basically, hold on, wait a minute. When we talk about it,
what's up?
all right. So what I was getting ready to say, well, when we talk about it, Sexy Red was made famous because of social media, not because of her skills.
Bro, the thing is, Sexy Red wouldn't be famous if people weren't listening to it. The thing is, people are actually
Well,
listening to
people,
Sexy Red, but no one want to admit that. They're trying to say, "Oh, the man is pushing it." The man is pushing Sexy Red. I'm like, they would if no one listened to Sexy Red and she was being pushed all the time, no one would like. It was just like
no
she'll
one
go away to the
would
wayside. Like,
exactly.
but the fact is, people are listening to Sexy Red. People are rocking with her, and no one want to admit that. Oh, people actually like that for some reason. I don't know why. I think Sexy Red is one of the worst artists in like if you consider all it takes to be an artist, she's one of the worst things that happened to the black community. And for some reason she's famous. What's the other one like Sukiyana or
Right.
something? Like I
Yeah,
don't know.
Sukiana.
I
Keep in
know
mind
these. What's up? Go
this.
ahead.
I was getting ready to say, keep in mind, she sold lip gloss named Honoria to little girls.
It was named after
and the
venereal
mothers okayed
diseases.
it.
Bro,
Yes,
I'm like, Sukian and Sexy Red have no business being famous. If black culture was any type of good, they would like people would like shame these people and put them off to the side. Like I know every culture has some of the ratchet stuff, but for some reason in the black community, our ratchetness is like we make it popularized. And I'm like, why do we do that? Those people should be like in like the recesses of society, like the gutter, like only like certain like it shouldn't be in the public, and for some reason we decide to do that, and that's my problem. That's why I say black culture is cooked, as effed up as it sounds.
right. And so we look at the culture. It can't even survive our women, because it's bad enough we got the negative things, the heart disease, the diseases, the crime that take lives, but we can't replace the lives that are taken. Is because the B-Dub is taking more lives through abortion than all the rest of the stuff.
Wait, what
So
you
we're
mean
we're
B-Dubs?
literally going extinct. Be black women.
That's that's the that. Oh, okay, I didn't know that's what people meant by B
B.
does. Okay,
Okay, okay. And so basically, when you look at it, we can't replace the people that are being lost because of the abortion rate. All right.
900 a
And
day.
then on top of, and then on top of that, the other thing is whenever brothers try to do something positive for the community, they come in to shut it down, especially when it gets into the DR money that that they wanted for their sons to be making in the hood, right? And so we got a lot of it, right? He says, B Dog always have a problem with us, melanin being happy, especially with other cultured women. Exactly. And that's the thing. They want to make us miserable. But then when we leave that misery alone and they see us happy, they cannot fathom the fact that we're happy with others. Right?
I agree with you.
And so, all right,
Well, I
and
got,
here's,
but like
here's
to come
another
to the
thing.
defense of the black women, for some reason the black men they don't do it to the extent that black women do it, but they have a problem with some black women dating out too. Like you, even black women that date outside of race say they get bad looks and stuff like that. Someone was in the comments a little earlier saying that too. So I'm like, it's not. It's like it's the people that like the pro-blackity black people. It's like the people that's like, oh, what's up, brother man? I'm like, bruh, I can understand being pro-black, but you're getting to a point where you're not just being pro-black, you're just being a little racist. Like, come on now. I can understand loving black
But here's the
culture,
thing.
but why do we gotta try to put other cultures down, try to say we the best when we have problems? We kind of need a new black renaissance, to be honest.
But here's the thing. This is what I'm saying though. The pro wax will let the B Dub do anything she wants. They only get mad if you listen to Dr. Umar. He only talks about black men who date out. He don't say nothing about the women.
Black Dr.
I can't hear
Umar
you.
is Umar Johnson is a pander. Derek Jackson is
He's
a
a
pander. They
panderer.
know if
He's
you praise black women, like you're gonna get paid. I'm
You get
like,
rich.
and like, and if you see how he treats black women in his personal life, his daughters and his baby mamas, like you'll be like, yo, how can y'all get behind this man? Like, come on. I made a joke one time saying, if the devil came down and called black women queens, the black women would defend the devil. I made that joke a while ago. I know it's a little extreme, but it was just a joke. But that, like, I'm like, if
It's kind of true.
yeah, if you say, oh, bro, that people say I'm pandering, but if I really wanted to pander and make money, I would be like, oh, black queen goddesses, this and I'm like, come on now. I tell her how I see it. I feel like I'm telling the truth. People could disagree with me, but they can't say I'm wrong. When I say the black culture has problems, they might deflect and say, what about other races? I'm gonna say, oh, we have the food is killing us. Oh, we have the highest obesity rate, about 49.9%. Then someone asks, what about white people? I'm like, if I just said, oh, like almost half of us are obese, why would you say, what about white people? It's about like 41. So why aren't you trying to say, yo, maybe we do have a problem with the food. Maybe we do need to do something a little different. Or they'll say, oh, but
Exactly.
or they'll say the people around me, we're trying to be healthy. yeah, that's the people around you. Y'all want everyone want to be all this black culture, black community shit. I think the black community is dead, to be honest. But everyone want to be this pro black community stuff. But when we try to say, oh, you have to change. Oh, this is wrong with us. Oh, we have some negative things about us that we need to address. Everyone want like, nah, I don't want to address that. I'm good. Black culture is good. We can't talk. We can't say anything negative about aspects of black culture that we wish we could
Well,
change.
you know why? It's because if you to change something, all right, you got to analyze it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to, if you're going to change it, once you analyze it, you will find that there is a root cause, right? And so it's like when you have a problem with a signal in your car and you know it's electrical, right? And so they go first, they go and test it, and then they run a wire all the way to they get to the root. And if it's a relay or something, they change out the relay, right? They don't stop um, and fix it halfway, as we say, jerry rig, because you will still have a problem. They, in order to fix the problem, they got to get to the root of it.
Like what's
Once they
blowing
get
that
to the root of
fuse?
it,
What's
they,
popping that relay all the time
yeah,
instead of
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
replacing the
yeah, yeah.
relay?
And so, yeah, yeah. And so basically, we understand, we know exactly why the black community is doing terrible. But everybody is afraid to say it
It's because it makes you
because
money.
they'll lose money. Exactly. And we know this is because we know the condition of the community um, when before it was a matriarch, when it was a patriarch, and we had houses, children growing up in two-parent households. We had schools, colleges, and stuff. We had our own community. Our own community had doctors, ambulances, hospitals, and stuff like that. Even when they took that away, then the Black Panthers created SAFE. They created Meals on Wheels, school breakfast, after school programs, WIC. See all that WIC and all the social benefits that women get now was primarily created by the Black Panthers, and the government stole that. But they was able to steal it because our women betrayed us and gave it to them. So our secrets, our way of doing things, they gave it to everybody. They marched for everybody else's causes, which is how they got a foothold into the black family. The alphabet community is in the black neighborhood, in the black family, because the BW kicked the men out and brought in the alphabet Caucasian community and joined with them in solidarity and marched for all of their stuff,
One
right?
thing.
This is why
Remember, like,
DEI,
remember it was first the civil rights movement, and then feminists they took
right?
control of the civil rights movement and made it about women's
Yeah,
issue. And then later on, they took the civil rights movement from racial issues to sex issues to daggone who I sleep
yeah.
with issues. And I'm like, this kid that make it like such a small percent. Like they want to focus on all the alphabet gang stuff and not what's like real issues. Like nowadays, no one cares about if you a man, woman, and who you sleep with. But people always want to try to stress certain things. I'm like, that's
But
not
guess who
even
get
that.
all the benefits?
Go ahead.
The DEI. Guess who gets the benefits of what happened? The
Majority white women.
DEI. Hold on. Then after them, Hispanic women. Then after them, the alphabet people. Then the veterans. You know who's dead last? Black people. And you know of the black people who's really dead last? The Afro men, right?
And they
And so,
tricked
but
us
we
to
didn't
fight
need to
hard for
march
these
for it.
programs. That's what's crazy.
For the exactly, they
We
made
fight
us the
so
face of
hard for these
something we got no
programs.
benefit.
E- exactly. Bro, I feel you on this one. I feel you on this one.
They made us the face of something that we do not benefit from. They made B-dubs the face of movements that they do not directly benefit from. They give them crumbs, but they don't benefit from them. Everybody else benefits, and then they're dead. No, we're dead last. They're only just above us,
And
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 we're
for
both just above the Native American.
And the crazy thing is, for some reason, like you would never see black people coming out and marching against the Pookies and the Ray Rays, the gang violence. You will never see that. but they'll march for George Floyd. The dude was on that stuff when he got pulled over. The coroner said, yo, he died because of this. And they're like, nope, it was because of the police officer. And I'm like, racial, like before like Obama, before like 2010, the racial tension was kind of more chill. Like it was a lot more chill than like early 2000, late 2000, like early before the 10s. And then for some reason, after like social media, all you see is people just posting, "Oh, black man gets stopped by police, black men have problems with police," and everyone just believes that's what's going on. Black people are getting unalive by the police all the time, when that's not even true. It's most happening to white people.
Well, here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing. They didn't march for George Floyd.
Yeah, they did.
Want me to tell you how I know?
I can't breathe.
Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. When they decided to march and use his name, wasn't he already dead?
In Jesus' name, you said?
Wasn't he already deceased?
When they decided to march for Jesus?
When they was marching for he. No, I said when they started marching for George Floyd, wasn't he already deceased?
Yeah.
Okay, so how were they marching for him if none of their marches was going to bring, first, they weren't going to bring him back alive by marching, and they weren't marching to get him off the stuff he was on before he was deceased. They didn't march to stop the police before they did that, so how can they march for him when he's already gone? You can't march for somebody after they gone. They gone.
But I feel like that whole thing was just
you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying?
It was people wanted to go outside for something. People was primed and ready to go outside and argue about something. That's what was crazy about the COVID
But
time.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't march for brothers. The only time they get up is when somebody want to organize something to get some money into the coffers of some group. Like BLM was buying houses off of those marches.
Bro, they had
That's
like
what those marches was about.
But like this is how
Man,
Jesse Peterson
yeah,
said,
yeah, bro.
fat black lesbians.
So hold it.
Bro,
But here's the thing. So if they got mansions, then who were those people marching for? It wasn't for George Floyd because he wasn't the beneficiary. It was for BLM who got the mansions. So they was marching to give 3 women who was part of the LGBTQ community some mansions. That's what they marched for. And how do we know it? They marched and they got mansions. Did George Floyd, did the marches bring George Floyd back alive? Nope. So he got no benefit from the marches. His mama got no benefit from the marches.
actually,
Who
his
benefited?
family got like got some money from the city too. That's what's crazy about it. They shouldn't have got anything, but yet they got money from the daggone city of.
No, they should have got money from the city because the police need to be checked. They don't know how to do their job.
Bruh,
We're not saying that they weren't unwarranted.
The person that dissected his body said that, hey yo, he died because of the stuff that he was on. I'm like, was the police?
No.
Did the police help the situation by being on him? No, I would say that. But if he was at home at the
They
time,
did.
Go ahead. What's up?
He would not. No, the police officer. What he did was, and
Do
this
you know
is
the stuff he was on at
this
the
is
time?
why I don't trust. Yeah, I'm a medical or was. I retired.
He was on a speedball. You know what that is,
Hold on.
right?
Yeah. Hold on, listen to me. So when I retired, I was in the military. I ran laboratories, medical laboratories. I was an NCOIC. I wasn't the officer in charge. All right. So, and ASCP certified, right? So basically, yeah, he was on that stuff, and had he not been affixed, he probably would have survived it.
Bro,
You see what I'm saying? So it was common. It's a
the corner that
the corner.
the one that that was
Hold
from the
on.
government said that if he was at home, he would have had the same issue because that stuff messes with
No.
your respiratory system.
Right, it does. It does.
Like
He would have had issues.
if you saw the earlier videos when he was in the car when they stopped him, he was saying I can't breathe before he even got out the car. Before he even got out the
Right.
car, he
And
was
so,
saying that.
hold
But
on,
they
wait.
only pressed the part when the police officer was on top of him.
Brother, this is no. This is where you're missing it.
Go ahead. What's up?
This is where you're missing it. I'm gonna tell you. And this is, I can't hear you.
I said, go ahead. What's up? You good?
No. Repeat what you said before I go,
I'll
because I
say,
didn't hear you.
I say, before he got outside of the car, he was already saying, "I can't breathe." He was saying, "I
Saying
can't
that.
breathe." Before he got on the floor, he was saying, "I can't breathe." But they only want to focus on the part when the officer was on top of him. They don't want to
Okay,
focus
now,
on him getting out the
here's,
car saying, "I can't breathe," because he was on that stuff.
all right, now
and had
here's the
respiratory
thing.
issues because of it. Go ahead. What's up?
Okay, now here's the thing. This is why the police would have been at fault. If they claim he was saying that, right, then instead of putting their knee on his neck and asphyxiating him more, making the matters worse, because had they did what they were supposed to do and rendered first aid, right, rendered first aid. So what we do is when somebody's having respiratory problems, right? Emergency
Him on their side
wise,
with the arms like
when
this
you
and stuff, right? The recovery position.
no, because they have the equipment. No, they have the equipment to give them oxygen, right? If he was coming out saying, and so if they call the paramedics come, they put oxygen on him, pump the tank to 15, right, and stabilize him, right. Now, here's the other thing. For those of us that watched the whole video, the police had his knee on his neck, and under any count, that's a no-no, and under any count, that assists whatever is going on. So if something's going on, that made it worse, right? And so that is the problem with that. The police did not do their job. Now, part of your job is doing it right so that when something happens, you cannot be held liable. The reason why the police could be held liable, because that man had his knee, and we could all see it on TV, on his neck, and it was on his neck asphyxiating him. And so whatever was going on,
There at the time there was a group of people around them, and they were trying to secure someone and hold them down. Because
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So
It doesn't matter.
If you have a
No.
that's
Hold on. Let me say this. Let me mention this. Hold on. Let me hold it. Wait.
People? Like I could see what you're going. I could
Hold on.
understand
Wait.
what you're
No. Listen to what I'm saying. And so in the laboratory, I can't hear you. You clicked out.
Not to go. I said if you're surrounded by a group of people, because the cops will get people are coming around the cops trying antagonize them, do something, and you have someone that you're trying to secure down, hold down, because like he's a big individual compared to the cops. Once you try to make sure you got that,
it doesn't matter.
The area before you let the
We're talking about liability.
Get up.
No, the police made a mistake and put his knee on that guy's neck while it was being filmed, and everybody saw that. And the best way I could say it is this. In the laboratory, all right, before we start the day, right, we run controls on all the machines. We run a machine control, and we run a sample control, right? It's in the machine, but if it's not on paper, if I make sure, I have to make sure it's on paper, or I have to make sure my people make sure it's on paper. If it's not on paper, right, and we go through the day or something happens to the paper, we go through the day and something happens and they need, not the results, say something happened based on the results that the doctor got. Say somebody overdosed, say like on Coumadin, all right, and we don't have the controls for that day, we are liable even though we did everything right, but we forgot a step, right? And so liable for something, for a mistake that the doctor made. And even though we did everything right, even though the controls were in, if it's not on that piece of paper, because somebody forgot that and didn't do every part of the job right. So the police have the same thing. They have, and they're trained like this. They have every part of the job to do right, not so much for safety, but it is to get rid of liability. When he put his knee on that man's neck, and we all saw that, that right there made the police liable, especially since we can count how many seconds he did it.
I got a
So
question.
all the rest of that stuff,
Isn't that
okay?
isn't that what he's trained to do? Isn't that
No, he
restraint
was not
part of
trained.
because they said that the restraint that he used is part of the department policy about how it
No,
tries
no,
to
no, no,
secure someone
no.
down.
Until they went back and saw that he had his knee actually on his neck, they had to go back and say, this is why they paid the family. This is why the city paid the family,
I
right?
think the city paid the
Because
family because all the BLM protests and all the pressure,
no,
not
no, no,
because
no,
they
no,
feel
no,
like
no,
that
no,
dude
no,
was
no.
actually did something wrong
No, no,
outside
no,
of
no, no, no,
policy.
no, no,
It's just my opinion on
no.
it.
No. Okay. So that's your opinion, but I'm gonna tell you the facts of why they paid it. They paid the family because when the police officer knee was on the neck, it was against police protocol, and that's what they used to get the family paid. Now BLM was another thing. They got paid off of donations from people pouring it in, and they didn't do anything to help the family or that situation. They used the situation to make money for themselves and funnel it to certain political parties, right? But because of what the police did not follow protocol. The moment he hit, and they counted the seconds he had his knee on his neck. If he would have had the knee lower in his back, that would have been the police protocol. But he had his knee on his neck, and that broke police protocol, and that's what made them give the family the money. Because the police protocol is not on the neck, but it is on the back, right? And there are certain kind of grappling chokeholds that you can use with your arm, but not the knee on the neck while he's on the ground. So that's what happened with that. And so because of that, that's the one rule that got broken that just made all. So at that point, the police are liable regardless of the state. Now, had he had his knee on the back and he expired, that would have been a different thing because of the whatchamacallit balls that he was taking, right?
Wait, quick
But
question.
when
What
he-
about the coroner that said that if he was at home at that time, he would have still
It
made
doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. That's why I gave you the example. We did everything right except we forgot one piece of paper that caused them and that was a mistake that happened that wasn't really the fault of the lab, but because we don't have the controls down on the paper, we're liable. Because he put his knee on that man's neck for as long as he did, he made the police liable. All right, no matter what the coroner said, could, woulda, shoulda. The fact of the matter is, his knee on somebody's neck, that's a no-no. Even in the military arrest, that's a no-no, right? And so he did not follow protocol, this, that, and the other. And they can say he would have died anyway, and they could probably be right, but it doesn't matter because the police officer broke protocol, and there is video footage of it. Now, had there not been video footage of it, then what the coroner says, but everybody saw it on video, right? So that broke protocol, and they had to own up to that, right? And had he had his knee on his back and he expired, that would have been different. Then they would have been on TV. Well, he followed police protocol and he died because of what the coroner says. But now, what the coroner says don't really matter.
I feel like because that was the height of the stuff, all that BLM stuff. No, even if you followed protocol to the T, I feel like they would have still convicted that man, no matter what. That's just my opinion. It's just because of the amount of
Well,
pressure
no,
that
because it was video.
no. Even that, even
Video
because,
changes everything.
no, I'm saying even if his knee was on his back, because of the whole Black Lives Matter thing at that time, it would have been like, you know what, we want to say you innocent, but we're gonna get all this BS that comes along with trying to say you innocent. We're gonna get a whole nother protest burning down the city if we do this. So we gotta have to sell you out, big dog. That's what I feel like. I feel like no matter what he did,
No.
you would have been wrong.
The video would have saved him or condemned him. That police officer, that video could have saved him too. Because they could have been like, no. His knee was in his back.
I know. I see what you're talking about. I just feel like even still, because of this whole, but you gotta think about the whole Black Lives Matter
Nah,
situation.
they would have
now,
weaseled out of that.
the whole Black Lives Matter situation.
Nah, 'cause they did-
Come
they
on,
did-
man. Like, I like what you're saying.
No,
but I just
they-
disagree on that particularly.
No, the police, no, they let police officers get off for less than that. All right, so had his knee been on his back when the
This was
video?
the height of all the protests. People
No,
burning
that
down
wasn't it.
cities. You know the whole summer of love thing.
No.
The height of that. Come on. I'm rocking with.
Yeah,
I
it was
agree with you
around the
for
height.
certain stuff, but I feel like even still.
No. That wasn't the height of it. The height of it was Mike Brown.
I'm pretty
You're forgetting about Mike Brown.
I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. I could be wrong. Bob.
They didn't, hold on, they didn't,
because like they made
no,
George
because
Floyd
they
a
didn't burn
saint
down
out
cities
here.
for, hold it, no, they did that, but they didn't burn nothing down, right? The CVS that started being burned down, and then something happened after that. Something happened after that where they was burning down stuff in Seattle and stuff like that. That was the height of it. Come on, help me now. There's something happened. What happened after Floyd? Something happened after Floyd. Remember, because they burned down
The
Seattle.
whole like the thing that what's
No. There was something else that happened right after that. There was something that right after that. Because remember the dude that was protecting himself, the 17-year-old.
Trayvon Martin?
No. The white guy.
I don't remember. I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, the thing, that's when it's worse. They went, those people when they left, they went and destroyed and burned down whole cities. They took lives. And this is the,
you know the
this
crazy
is what-
thing? The crazy thing about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, they try to make it a race issue, and he didn't even do anything to a black person. It was three
Right,
white
exactly.
individuals, and I'm like, yo.
And they were all hold on.
they
And
were
what's
like a
worse, they were
pedophile
all
or something?
pedos.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
He did the hat trick, three
Yeah.
of them in a row. Y'all should be celebrating him, and they hate him.
Hold on. But what? Hey, anybody in the comment section know what was the cause of them burning down Seattle, Washington, Oregon, California?
Is at the time there was Black Lives Matter protests going all around because that with COVID and everybody being locked up in their house beforehand, everybody just wanted to go outside and do something.
Oh yeah, because they was allowed out to do it on COVID.
Yeah, because
They was allowed to do that.
The crazy thing is, they said, "Oh, gathering and protest is not going to spread COVID, but every type of other gathering, yeah, that's definitely going to spread COVID." And I'm like, wait, what? That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense at all. That was like, they'll say, you can go out and go protest, but if y'all gather at the church, y'all gonna get sick and die. I'm like, that don't make no sense.
Hey, do you notice? Do you know that all the social media apps silence people like me with credentials that could tell people the truth about the C-19? And they even silenced the dude that created the mRNA vehicle. They silenced all of us. They silenced doctors. They silenced the nurses. Yeah. I was like, okay, yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. like for some reason, at the time, this is the crazy thing. It was called the Wuhan virus, right? And I'm like, everybody was like, wait, there's a Wuhan lab in China, and there's a virus called the Wuhan virus, and that Wuhan lab is close to a fish market, and that's where they said it started from. It's like being in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and saying there's chocolate everywhere because a chocolate factory exploded, and no one look at the Hershey factory. They're like, I wonder where the chocolate came from. Probably the Hershey. There was a comedian that made this joke. It was like Jon Stewart made the joke about like the Wuhan virus from the Wuhan lab where it started in a fish market, and no one want to address that. No one like that don't seem suspicious. That was
Dude,
just crazy.
I was coming back. I was coming back from Brazil, or I was coming back for somebody, and I was watching everything as it was happening at the time it was happening, and I was saving the videos of them dragging people out of that lab, and then all of a sudden you couldn't talk about it anymore. You couldn't talk about anything, and I think I might have one of the old videos on one of my old computers, but my old computers start shutting down and having problems all of a sudden. And I was like, what in the hell is going on here?
Bro,
Right?
Yo, call me. This is my whole theory. This is my whole theory. What's the word? Conspiracy theory, right? I feel like it was done on purpose. I feel like the Wuhan people, the people in that country, I'm not gonna say the country because we got the app. They let that out for a reason. But the crazy thing is, it had like a 98, 99% survival rate, but everyone wanted to act like, oh, it's the most dangerous thing ever. Bro, I got COVID.
Let me say this.
I was out of breath and tired for 1 week, and the next week I was just chilling. And I'm like, it's not that bad. If you don't have a pre-existing condition, overweight, like high blood pressure, diabetes, or something, or you're elderly, we shouldn't have lockdown for everybody. But it was a whole thing about trying to control the population, and they realized that it's too soon to try to control the population because a lot of people still got that. You know what? I'm gonna rebel. In Europe, they would listen. In America's like, I'd rather die than quarantine. I'm just saying.
Hey, let me say this. Let me say this. What you need to look up is this word, GAIN, GAIN, OF, function, FU.
Oh no, Dr. Fauci.
Okay.
No. The crazy thing is,
Hold it. No.
Dr.
Hold
Fauci
on. Be
he
careful,
wasn't doing
brother.
that.
Hold it. Stop. Look this up and be careful how you talk about it now. All right. So look up the hearings, right?
No,
And when
I
you
know
look
what you
them
mean.
up,
Dr. Fauci said, we're not doing that. And then they said, here's all the stuff that says you were doing that under the Obama administration. And he was like, we're not doing gain of function.
Yeah, say
We're
that so we know what the that is.
We're trying to gain function of it, not gain up. I'm like, wait. You're just changing the words around, big dog. What you mean? That was crazy to me.
Right. So now we got to be careful of how we talk about that. But when you look that up and stuff, and he's the reason why stuff ended up in Wuhan. I'm gonna just say it like that. The stuff ended up in Wuhan because they was told, hey, you can't do that here. We don't care if you do it somewhere else. You just can't do it here.
No, Obama told him not to do it, but he still did it though. That's what's crazy about it.
No. They said you can't do it here. They didn't say stop doing it. Let me say it this way. Hold it. You know the phrase, last call for alcohol, and we're getting ready to close. You don't have to.
You don't have to go home, but you gotta get the F up out of here.
Right. It was one of them things. You don't have to.
You don't gotta. You can't do it here. But if you do it over there, we don't see nothing, big dog. That's over there.
We don't see. Yeah.
Look, cause that.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. Hey, it's almost 10 o'clock. I gotta go to sleep. I gotta work early, bro. I like talking to you, bro. And I feel like if I continue talking
All right,
about
man.
it, they're gonna get us for something. But that's,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Be careful, bro.
you got anything you want to say before I close it out?
Yep. Go ahead. Nah, bro. Go ahead. Close it out.
All right, then. Have a good day, y'all.
All right, peace.
I'm going tonight.